You're looking at a screen setup for trading stock and future on the ThinkOrSwim platform. This screen setup is ideal for a single monitor computer system or to be used on a laptop computer. It is set up with two charting windows for you to monitor your stock on a multiple time frame, a news window, a price and sell window here for you to gauge the pace of trading activity, and a price ladder for you to get an idea where are some of the liquidity levels. On the sidebar here, there is a chart of the S&P 500, a watch list, and a news window for you to monitor the market news. In this video, I will show you how to set up the screen, customize the chart, add some indicators, and also customize this sidebar. Before we begin, I would suggest that you save your current screen just in case you want to go back to it after we finish with this tutorial. Its first thing is to click this setup and select the Save Workspace As. So I'm going to name mine to be Temp. So you can name it whatever you like and then click Save. So now it will save the current screen under that name that you just type in. For mine is Temp. So later on, if I want to go back to the screen, I just select Temp. Be sure you have selected the flexible grid. If you have the chart selected, just click on the flexible grid. Then what we will do is to reset this grid just to make sure that we are start off with a clean slate. Essentially, I just click on here and click these reset. So what I want to do now is to split this window in two, and I just click on this icon here. So now I got two windows. Then I want to clear this sidebar here and delete whatever gadget that I have on there. And I just click on this gear icon and click on all the X's to delete them. So now I'm going to re-add the gadget that I want. So first I'm going to add the watch list and then the quick chart for the S&P 500. So I'm going to type in SPX for the index. So I have a chart here. This might not be the chart that I want, and I'm going to set up the chart later. For now, we just leave it as is. And also the thing is, I do not want the chart to be on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is rearrange it by clicking on this icon and just click on this and hold down the left mouse keys and just drag it up. So now I have just reordered the gadget on the sidebar. Then the other thing is I also want to add another live news window to monitor the news on the market. Now we're going to go and create a new watch list. So click on here and select Create Watch List. Then I'm going to just name it New List. And then highlight here. I just want to put in a couple of the market indexes. So the S&P 500, the Dow Jones Industrial, and the NASDAQ 100, the Russell 2000. Couple FANG stock. Let's put in Apple, Facebook, Netflix, and put in Tesla. Okay, let's move Facebook up above the Apple and save this. So now we have that list, and the list is, want to drag this and expand that list down so we can see all the stock and indexes that we have on the list. So see the complete list. We got a lot of room here. Unless your list is too long, then basically you just have to shrink it down to a reasonable length. Well, let's select this with a color red. So we want to link all these windows to the watch list. So whatever instrument or the stock that we have selected, then it will be show up on this window. So let's go and select Apple, right? And we will put in this link. So now you see Apple is on there. And notice that we also have the sidebar selected on these icon here. And we will leave it as chart here because we basically want this to be a charting window. So essentially, this is what the C stands for, chart. Again, we want to click this and link this to Apple. And again, we just leave this at chart here, but we want to change this to a intraday chart. So we're going to select the hourly chart. Although right now it's a 10-day, we can modify that later. Well, let's set it to 20-day for now. Same here, we will select the number 1 here. And instead of the chart here, we want to set that as a news window for Apple. So we can monitor the news on Apple. So we just select the N. You see the note here say live news. And here we will select the time and sell. Right here is a time and sell, the TS. Since the market is closed, so we won't see anything on Apple. And with the selected chart, for the future, we will use the active trader. That's basically the price ladder. But for equity, for stock, we will use level 2. Okay. So now we got this all set up with the various items for each window, and we will go ahead and deselect these sidebar checkboxes because we no longer need the sidebar to select the setting. And then we want to get rid of all these little boxes here. So we click on this icon here and turn off Customize Grid. Let's go and customize the chart here. The first thing that I will do is to delete all the steady that I have in this chart. So I'm going to select this icon and go into Edit Steady. Then select this button, click on this button to remove all. So now it removes all the steadies. Now, since I'm in this window here on this steady setup, I might as well add the steady that I want for this chart. I want to add 2 moving average, the 50 days and the 200-day moving average. So I'm just going to type in simple because I want to look for the simple moving average. And I'm going to select 2 of them. And before I go and configure that, let's go and also add in the volume. And I want to use this volume average. Okay, so let's go and configure this. The moving average, the first one is 50. And I want this to be green. So I want to make sure that they are show. And I do not want it to show the up and down signal. Okay, so that is for the 50 days. And now I'm going to set up for the 200 since it's already default at 200. If yours is not default in 200, just go and enter 200. And the color that I want is red. So if it's not set on red, then you just go and select that. Okay. And just leave this. Again, we want to uncheck these up and down signal. And go and configure the volume also. I want the down volume to be red. Have that color. And the up to be white. And the moving average for the volume, the average volume, we just leave this at cyan. And I want to change this to 20-day. Or 20 period. Okay, so click OK and then click OK. Now some of the stuff that we are not able to see because it is white on white. So now we're going to go and change the color of the chart. Click on this gear icon and get into this chart setting page. Select the appearance and the border up, we want this to be white. And the border down, we want that to be red. The doji, want it white. The fill, we want it white. Make sure these are checked, otherwise the body of the candle won't be filled. And we already have it selected red. If you do not see that color, then just go into this page and select the color red. Okay, and here I have selected the volume bar to be the same color as the candle. If it's selected here, just make sure that you select this option here. And then on the background, we want it black. Okay, and make sure to uncheck this grid checkbox here because we did not want the grid line on there. Okay, so now we're going to go and click OK. So now you see that the chart is on a black background, and we have two moving averages, the 50 and the 200, and also we have the up-down volume with the moving average volume here, the average volume, 20-day average volume. Now we're going to go and save the style. So we're going to save this style, and we're going to call it basic chart, or any name you like. So you could just click that. And I also want to save the steady set as well. So I'm going to click save. And since I already have it saved already, it asked me, do I want to replace it? I said yes. Okay. So now on this chart here, all I have to do is come in here and click on the style, and then look for that basic chart that I just saved. Click on that, and now it will duplicate that chart with the same scheme, the coloring and everything, and the indicators. So I want to change this back to the hourly chart, which is 10-day for now. Okay, so we just leave that as a 10-day hourly. Also make this chart here to have the same scheme, the color scheme as the chart for Apple. So we're going to go and select here, and then the style, select the low basic chart. Okay, so you see that we have that scheme there. Now let's go back and take a look at the other setting for the chart. On the General tab here, we don't want to show the order. I do not want to show the alert. Okay. And we do not want to show the high-low bubble. So we do want to show the last price. Okay. And make sure the snap on your join is on. Well, make sure that these are selected. Right. So it will be on your main menu, on your style menu here. If you click that, you could have it set to none right now. Then you could select it later on the style menu if you want to have your join to snap to the price bar. Okay, so that is the page, the setting for the general page. Then we're going to move on to the next page on the chart setting, the price axis. Make sure you don't have any of these checked. And I have put in a 5% on the up and down expansion. That's basically the spacing between the highest price and the lowest price on the chart display. So you will have enough margin here for you to annotate the chart. If you want to reduce that or increase that, you could just go ahead to type in whatever percent you want, or you could select it from this drop-down box, drop-down list. And I don't have anything here to select it. The only thing is the enable left axis. So in case that we want to plot something, that we want the axis to display on the left-hand side. And then on the time axis, want to check this keep time zone. And the expansion bar area, we don't need 40. So we could just go and select 10 for now. And we don't want the rolled over line to be selected, so we won't see the grid line here. Okay, you could set up your time frame, favorite time frame, but the default is pretty good already, so we just leave it. You could play around with it later on, and it's pretty straightforward. And the appearance, we already went to this page. So now we're going to go to the equity, for the stock, the price. So essentially, we want to check this show corporate action. So that way you could see the date for the upcoming earning. I want to uncheck this. You do not want to show the volume on the subgraph because we have already put in our own volume indicator here with the average volume plotted along with it. This subgraph volume does not have the average volume. Now here on the extended hour, make sure that you have select this, right? So it will add these options on to the style menu. So if you want to display the extended hour, then you can select it by going to the style menu instead of coming into this setup window to go and select and deselect. And we're going to skip over the option and then go to the futures. Same thing on the futures. We don't want to have show open interest, neither do we on these volume subgraph. And again, make sure these are selected. And this check and uncheck doesn't matter. We could go and select it later on in the style menu. So those are the settings for all these different tabs. Now we're going to go and select OK. So now we basically have set up this chart. Let's go and update the style. We're going to save that style again, basic chart, and the the steady set and everything. So now we just go and load this chart with the latest update of the basic chart setting. And make sure we go back to our 60-minute chart. And same here, we will click this here and go into the style, low, basic chart. Okay, so there we have it. Now we want to save this screen here. First, we want to save this grid, and we just select here, drop down, and we want to save flexible grid as. So you could save it whatever name you want, and let's call this, single monitor for stock. Okay, so if you want to use this grid setting, all you have to do is just click this icon down here and then look for that single monitor for stock. All right, so now let's modify that for futures. So we're gonna, first of all, we could add the S&P E-mini S&P 500 future here, and we just enter the ticker symbol /ES. So if we click on that, and every one of these windows will change to this ticker symbol /ES. Now what we want to do is on future, we want to change this to the DOM or the active trader set up here instead of using level 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, customize grid, and now we're going to select the sidebar here for this, and we will turn off the level 2 and select the active trader. So now we got the active trader window, the active window set up here. So now we're going to deselect the sidebar and get rid of these little boxes. Okay, so now we're going to configure this. The volume here, essentially it is trying to do a volume profile. We don't want that, so we want to take that out. Okay, so click on this icon and customize and select volume, remove, and done. All right, now you also got some button here for you to click to do buy and sell. I want to get rid of that. So just click on that icon, come to this page and select all these. On the first line, the item under the first line section and just remove them. I'm gonna leave the second line stuff there. It doesn't bother me because you could get access to it by clicking down on this arrow or close it. Now it's also have this line here that show you your current position. What I want to do is I want to hide that, right? Okay, so that way it just kind of tell you that if you hide it, then you could restore it by just clicking on this icon here, and you could say show position summary. Just click on this check mark. See, it came back, so we just uncheck that. Okay, so that's how we do that. And now we have set up for the futures. All right, so now what you want to do is you want to make sure there is enough of a price, number of prices here to cover at least 20 level, right? Because on the future, it will give you the lowest 10 asking price, the size of the lowest 10 asking price, and the 10 highest bidding price. Okay, so that's why we want to make sure that we have the ladder contain at least 20 price level. Okay, but if you do not, then you could just put your arrow, your mouse here, and see this double arrow, and then you could just drag it up and down to resize these windows. So let's go and save this. All right, save flexible grid. Instead of single monitor for stock, let's say for futures. Okay, and there you have it. So if we want to go back to stock, so we just select this, single monitor for stock. Okay, see how this changed back to the level 2 and to Apple. All right, okay, so now I could select, I want to look at Facebook. Okay, and the S&P. Right, the S&P doesn't come with volume on the ThinkOrSwim platform. So let's go and take a look at Apple again. And the other thing is, for example, if you want to take a bigger view of the chart, just put your mouse on this window and right-click it, and the menu will pop up. Then you could just select that maximum size, maximum cell, and now you have a blown up chart of Apple. And if you want to go to the adjacent window to get the intraday chart, the 1 hour chart, just click on this arrow, right? So you could go back and forth. And that's the reason why I have designed the chart to be next to each other. So that way you could just go from one chart to another back and forth and look at that. So hopefully you follow along and find this setup useful. And just go and play around and customize the different things on the chart on the screen here to your preference. Now let's save the screen setup so we could select it in the future if we want to have this screen setup on our display. So we're going to select setup, and just like what we did when we saved the original setup, we just go and select save workspace as, and now we're going to name it, let's say call it single monitor screen. Okay, and we save that. So now if we want to go back to our original, remember we saved the original to the tab, and this is my original window. All right, the list, the watches is slightly different. And if I want to go back, let's say to this here on some other stuff, and if I want to go to the screen, single monitor screen, then we just select that. And there you go, right? And if you want to change this to your stock, to monitor stock, just select your single monitor for stock. And instead of the active trader here, you get the level 2. So I hope you find this video useful. And if you do, give it a thumbs up and also click the subscribe and the notification icon. If you have any comment on this setup, or if you have Any requests that you would like to see on future video, be sure to post that on the comment section below.